Hey, this is a pretty well-respected paper, you know. Washington Post, headline, Lobbyists spend millions to influence politicians. I don't know, this should not be a headline. It's what happens every single day. Drug makers, hospitals, and insurers continue to pour millions of dollars into politicians' pockets during the second quarter of this year, hoping to limit the damage to their bottom line as lawmakers and the Obama administration wrangle over landmark health care legislation. New disclosure reports that, and I have to, I'm reading this and I'm thinking, you know, even this well-respected paper, they're just not telling you exactly the truth. So, I mean, I'd like to give you this verbatim, but I have to put it in English so you can actually understand it. So here's how it works. The Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, that's the association that represents the drug makers, they put in $12 million into politicians' pockets behind your back. The American Medical Association put in over $8 million behind your back. Blue Cross and Blue Shield, GlaxoSmithKline, Novartis, that's the company that makes vaccines, and a bunch of other specific insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies threw in another $20 million into the pockets of politicians. Johnson & Johnson, American Health Insurance Plans, Bayer. It gets out of control. This goes on to say that never before in history, these are record numbers, by the way. And the reason why, and this is why I have said over and over again, the politicians in Washington spend most of their time raising money. Last week, President Obama came to Chicago, spent the whole day fundraising. Every politician, every congressman and senator spends most of their time raising money. That's number one. The second activity they do is they meet with the lobbyists, the people that are getting the money from the major corporations. So the politicians meet with the donors. We'll call them the donors. So number one, politicians spend time raising money. And then whoever gives money to the politician, then the politician spends his time with them. Whether they're an association like the Pharmacy Association, the American Medical Association, a particular person, a company like a drug company, taking perks from all these companies, flying on their private jets, having these companies put them up in five-star resort hotels, them and their family. And this is what you don't see behind the scenes. When a company gives tens of millions of dollars and the politician then spends all of his time with them, do you think they're playing pinochle? Why do you think they're spending time, and why do you think that company is giving this politician money? It's called a bribe. I mean, nobody will, I don't know why anyone won't just tell you like it is. And we had the biggest briber of all time, Jack Abramoff, who was found guilty of doing this as the number one lobbyist in Washington, taking bribery money and bribing the politicians, and he came out and said, everyone is doing this. They're all taking the money, and he was stifled, shut up, and put in a cell, and he was drugged. Here he is, a whistleblower, and what did the government do? They shut him up. Any whistleblower, they shut him up. They start attacking, going after, and trying to shut him up. So this report in the Washington Post shows you. I mean, it's just blatant. So the politicians, the guys that you elect to represent you, it's a joke. They don't represent you. The guys that you elect go to Washington, go to your state capital, whatever, and they spend all their time raising money. And those people that give them the money, then the politician meets with them. And here's how the conversations go. And by the way, I know this because I've had many of these lunches. I've been in many of these meetings over the years. So I know how it goes. I was on both sides of the coin, by the way. I was the receiver of the money, and I was the giver of the money. So I know how it's played out. This is why people who disagree and argue back and forth, I just kind of laugh and go, you know, you're all just a bunch of ignorant, I don't want to say moronic, because that's really not the case. You just haven't been there. You haven't seen how it works. So you're just naive to how it really goes on. This is why you can't vote for the incumbent. You can't vote for the guy who's a Democrat or Republican. You have to put somebody brand new in from not a major party, and then things will change, because these people absolutely in their heart are doing this not for personal power and personal enrichment, but they're doing it because they want to represent the people in their district that elected them. And so when you send somebody into office, that person should be representing you. And he should be representing you, saying, let's make laws, or let's repeal laws, and let's get rid of the 1 million laws that are on the book. Let's peel them back, because the people that I represent, the people that elected me, want me to make their life easier. They don't want government to take care of all their problems. They want to create an environment where they can solve their own problems. They want the government to allow them to live their life the way they want and not have things imposed on them by a federal or state government. But that's not how it works. So these meetings go like this. So let's say that I'm a pharmaceutical company and I make a vaccine, and I give $10 million to the politicians. Now I get a chance to sit down with them, and the politician says, so what do you want? And the drug company says, I want you guys to pass a law making it a requirement that everybody buy my vaccine in America, because I want to make $10 billion. Okay. And how much more will you give me? Well, if you get the law passed, I've already given you $10 million. If you give the law passed, I'll throw in another 10. Make it 20, you got a deal. That's how it goes. All right, talk